I want to share with you about somebody I know very, very well. Someone I'm very well acquainted with. He was 17 years old, a student in the military academy. On a Saturday morning, he came back from military training, and he was so tired. He went into his room, and he was getting ready to go and take a shower. Put a towel around him, and just as he was about to step out of his room, everything started to spin. He felt like the whole room was spinning. And that was when that he lost his balance, fell backwards, and hit the back of his head on the metal bar of his bed. The moment his head hit that metal bar, he fell to the ground and could not move. He lost all feeling from his neck downwards. He was paralyzed. He could not speak. He could not open his eyes. He could not move. But he could hear sounds around him. He lay on that floor, totally helpless, unable to move without anybody coming to help him. His friends came and knocked on the door at lunchtime and asked him to go to lunch. He couldn't wake up, couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't respond. But he could hear his voices of his friends. They thought he must be sleeping, and so they left. They came back again after lunch. And then they knocked on the door again. And this time, when they didn't hear any response, they got a bit worried. So they went and found a master key, opened the door, walked into the room, and saw him on the floor. He was naked, just with a towel around him, fell to the ground, couldn't move. That's when they called for an ambulance. Ambulance came and took him to the nearby military base hospital. And there, the doctors attended to him. All this while, this young man could not speak, could not open his eyes, could not respond, could not move. All he could do was he could hear. He heard sounds of people talking around him, medical professionals talking. He heard somebody say he's got a temperature of 107 degrees. He heard somebody else say, even if this boy survives, he'll be a vegetable, he'll have brain damage. And somebody said, better he doesn't make it. While all of this was going on, this young boy, without even thinking, he cried out to the Lord from the depth of his heart because he could not speak. He said, Lord Jesus, help me. I don't want to die. Help me. A little while later, he slipped into a complete coma. That night, the military police went to his hometown to try and search for his family. But unfortunately, the address that was in the records of the college were outdated. The family had moved house, and the people in the old house didn't even know his parents at all. So they couldn't find him. But this boy's mother, at night, wept and wept. She said she didn't understand why. She just was weeping the night and praying in the spirit for her son. She didn't know why. She said she just felt something was not right. Just before midnight that night, this young man went into cardiac arrest. His heart stopped beating, and the medical professionals came in and tried to revive him. There was absolutely nothing they could do. Just before midnight that night, they declared him clinically dead. And because it was very late at night, and this little military base hospital did not have a mortuary facility, they decided to keep the body in the next room, in a very cold room, until early the next morning, where they would take it to the main military hospital where there would be a proper mortuary facility. In the meantime, they were trying to contact the family still, try to find where the family is. 5 hours later, 5 o'clock in the morning, the ambulance driver was ready. The nurse came. She opened the door, switched on the lights, and he opened his eyes. He looked at her, and she looked at him, and they both screamed. Yeah. She kept screaming and screaming and screaming. She slammed the door shut, she locked it, and she ran. He has no idea what's going on. He did not know that he had been dead for 5 hours. He looked at himself. He was naked. He had no clothes on. He only had a thin sheet covering him. And he was freezing cold. And the room was very dark. And he hears this nurse outside, just hysterical, screaming. The nurse goes and calls the doctor who was on call the night before. And she says, doctor, the boy who died last night, he has become a ghost. I saw him. And she said, you got to come right now. And the doctor said to her, come on, don't play tricks with me, on me. You know? And she said, doctor, I saw it. You have to come for yourself. So he came. And when he arrived, he opened the door. By this time, this young man was really frozen because he was so cold in there. And he's in shock. He doesn't know what's going on. He just took that sheet and covered himself. And the doctor came in, went up to him, touched his hands, and said, you're warm. And the young man said, no, doctor, I'm cold. You know? And the doctor told the nurse, give him some blankets and take him out of here. The nurse was not going to take any chances. She took the blanket, she threw it at him. And he just grabbed it and covered himself. And then they took him out of that room, brought him to the treatment room, and the doctors attended to him. And when they'd done, examining him completely, the doctor slumped into his chair and looked at this young man and said, what happened to you? There's nothing wrong with you. There's no explanation for all of this. And this young man, without even thinking, said, Jesus did it. Jesus did it. And the doctor said, well, if you say Jesus did it, I believe it. Because it couldn't be my God. See, the doctor was a Hindu doctor. Very dedicated medical professional. He said to the young man, he said, before this today, every time a patient of mine is really critical and beyond my help, I would often go to the temple and I would pray, offer prayers for my patients. And he said, but none of them survived. Every one of them died. So he said, I stopped going to the temple. What's the point? They all die anyway, he said. But you're the first of my patients. I did not pray for you. You died. And 5 hours later, you're alive. And all you can say is, Jesus did it. He said, I believe it. Because he couldn't be my God. And that doctor eventually gave his life to Jesus Christ. Yeah. And that young man is standing in front of you today. I am that young man. Don't worry, I'm very much alive. Give God the glory. Come on. Give God the praise. I'm here today because of the grace of God. I'm standing before you today for you to see that nothing is impossible with God. If God can raise me from the dead and give me life, think of what he can do for you. What's your problem today? You're still alive. I was already gone. But God gave me a chance to come back so that I can tell you today that if you put your faith in the Lord, there's absolutely nothing that he cannot do for you. God is more than able to carry you through. God is more than able to heal, to deliver, to provide, to come through, to break for you. If only you would trust him today.